Okay, I thought I would talk about some books, and then I'm going to add in the stuff I vlogged a little bit yesterday. So this is all pertaining to plastic, or actually Sustainability July. I'm focusing on plastic-free July. So I finished 2 books. I finished this book, Zero Waste Living, the 80-20 Way. Very thin book. It took me an hour. And then I read Decluttering at the Speed of Life by Dana K. White. And you would think, what has decluttering have to do with sustainability? But, the reason why these decluttering books and channels are so popular is because we have too much stuff. We're over-consuming. We're buying way too much stuff, more than we need. And a lot of times that stuff involves plastic. So it's just a very unsustainable way to live. And a lot of times with these decluttering guides, they kind of it's annoying that they ignore the fact that you are just throwing out so much trash. You're just sending so much stuff to the landfill. And they don't even think about it. It's like, oh, just throw it out. And, they're trying to get your house clean. But, you have to take some responsibility for what's happening to all that junk. What I like about Dana K. White is she says, okay, you're going to have your trash. And she said that can include recycling. And then you're also going to donate. So she's much more about sorting through things and donating them. Now, she talks about other options you can do, like eBay. For a while, she had an eBay store where she was reselling things. Or you can have garage sales. She said that stuff it makes everything really, really complicated, really slows down the process. So for her, if getting money back wasn't a primary issue, just donating, finding a good place to donate to. I tend to donate nowadays to a big thrift store. It's about 20 minutes away, so it's kind of a pain to get to. But I can I like to group a lot of errands together so that I'm just going out once, getting a bunch of stuff done, and then I can come home and relax. And I like it because there's a lot of turnover, so you feel like, they're going to take good care of your stuff, or there's a chance that it'll get sold. It's this huge warehouse, and a lot of lower income people shop there. So now I tend to get my shirts there. It's a good place for shirts for me. I don't have so much luck with other things, but I can get shirts and sweaters there easily, and I sometimes get books there. Anyway, so that's where I tend to donate. I've just started doing this thing because I've been puzzled a long time about textiles. I just found 30 single gloves. There was no partner. There was no match, And what do you do with those? And they do have these bins, these textile recycling bins. It's there's one at a gas station about 12 minutes from my house, just behind the gas station. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been decluttering my grandson's room, which was out of control. And stuffed in his closet for some reason were all these old pillows. And I think I just didn't know what to do with old pillows, but I'm just going to go put them in that textile recycling bin. That's a good way to get rid of them. I feel like I'm not just throwing them into the landfill. So, or burning them. In my county, it's even considered a green program. I think they get federal dollars for this, but they burn the trash for electricity. So, and I'm uncomfortable with this for a couple of reasons. One, I don't trust the standards, the air pollution standards. I don't know how good the scrubbers actually are. And then the other thing is that the ash that gets burned is actually toxic. So they still have to do something with the toxic ash. Now, I know there's no perfect solution. There's no way to get energy and not have some sort of negative impact. I think we just have to spread it out, maybe use all different types of ways to get the energy we need. And I think we need to reduce the amount of energy that we expend. And here I'm saying this and I'm talking into my phone, but I do think it's a good idea to just ratchet back on electric use. We don't need electric clocks. we told time as human beings for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years without clocks, and we managed to progress without, electric clocks. We managed to do it mechanically. There's so many things like reading. Here I am on my Kindle. See, I'm a hypocrite, right? But for many, many years, thousands of years, we didn't need electricity to read. So I think we're making everything dependent on electricity, and we really don't need to. And so in those areas that we don't need to, we should just try to ratchet back. That's my own philosophy. Anyway, let me get to the zero waste book. I actually was pretty disappointed with this book. And I think it's because I already knew most of the stuff. Like maybe it would be good for an introduction. But also, I really disagreed with her whole thing about, she just goes on about how wonderful impossible, what is it called? Impossible meat and beyond beef or whatever is. And I just don't, I think we're going to find out that highly processed factory produced food, oh, something just fell, is not good for our health. It's like when we decided that we could eat sweet things without any calories, and now we're more obese than ever. I just don't think this is, the factory-made meat is the solution. Like I say in the vlog, I think the solution is to get away from industrial farming. And the whole Beyond Beef movement is based on monoculture industrial farming. That's what makes it so inexpensive and readily available. And it's GMO too. So I don't know, it's so questionable to me. I think we need to eat as close to nature as possible, whole foods. I think if you're a vegetarian, own your vegetarianism and don't be, a fake meat eater. There's so many choices if you're a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian for 3 years. And I guess I did eat some Boca burgers back then. We didn't have very much selection. There were these, what do they call, Morning Star? Something, they were like fake sausages. And occasionally I would eat those. But most of the time I didn't, because I didn't want to pretend like I was eating meat. I didn't want to eat meat, And so, there's so many things you can eat besides. You don't need it. Anyway, I just don't approve of it. And she was so starry-eyed about it, and she didn't even seem to realize the waste involved in it. And I don't know, I thought it was very narrow. I don't know. It wasn't as deep as I thought it would be. I could have written it more in depth, I think, with a little bit more. Of course, I didn't, right? She did, so yeah. Anyway, I was a little bit disappointed in this. I was not disappointed in Decluttering at the Speed of Life. I think this is really sound advice for somebody like me who is ADD and is always overwhelmed and just missed that managerial gene. I do not have an intuition when it comes to organizing things or keeping on top of my stuff. And all my life it's been hard, and I married somebody just like myself. And so lots of sound advice. I've been using it as I declutter my grandson's room. And I really liked her, and I appreciated that she talked about donating and she talked about recycling. So I highly recommend this one if you're in the market for a book on decluttering. Okay, so I will add in my vlog. I'm seeing I'm 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes. So I will add the vlog I did yesterday, and that'll be it. So I hope you're doing well. I hope your reading is going well, and also I hope you're trying to do something sustainable this month, something new, a new habit that's more sustainable. Okay. Hello. So I am here in the parking lot of a grocery store I haven't been to in a while. I used to go to this grocery store a lot when I was homeschooling teens, because there were events, classes and stuff that I had to take them to. And then I would drop them off, and then I would go shopping, and then I would pick them up and then go home. I'm all hot and sweaty because I just took my dog for a long walk. It's really hot and gross and buggy and muggy out. Anyway, I'm trying to get a plastic-free meat. Meat is really hard to get plastic-free. Now, I tend to buy my meat from a farm about an hour away, everything's packaged in plastic, but it's like the most minimal amount of plastic that you can pack meat in. And because it's regeneratively raised and it's local, I feel like that offsets the plastic a bit. And if I had my own way, I would only ever eat regeneratively grown meat. So regenerative meat is actually the solution to industrial meat. Industrial meat is terrible. It's terrible for the planet. It's not good for our health. But regeneratively grown meat that's bought locally is actually like good for the environment, because regeneratively grazed meat, where they do rotational grazing and they have all these methods, is it actually sequesters more carbon, and the cattle actually emit less methane, much less methane. So it's the answer, but it's so political. Anyway, so I'd like to stay away from any industrial raised meat. However, I live with my husband, and I live with a grandson who needs lunches packed, and I live with other people, and it's just really hard. Plus my own energy is limited, and so I have to make these concessions. So I've been buying, I used to do this, and then I stopped. When I went to the store, this store has a deli counter, and you can bring in your own container, and they'll slice the meat right off there in front of you, and then they'll put it in your own container, and you can avoid plastic. And I did that for a couple of years. But then, since I stopped shopping at this store because it's not as convenient, I started just buying lunch meat that's packaged in plastic, which ironically, it's at the more groovy or organic store where I get it. But they don't, because I think a lot of their clients are vegetarian or vegan, they don't have a huge meat department. So they just didn't invest in having like this nice deli counter the way this store does. Also, there is cheese. You can get cheese the same way, and you can avoid the plastic. My idea of getting that cheese, that really nice cheese, in the wax, I'm not considering that a success, because it turns out that wax, I looked it up, and I had looked this up years ago and forgotten it. It's paraffin wax, but it's food grade. But it's still made from petroleum byproducts. So you're not really any better than plastic with it. So now some people like reuse it, but I'm never going to melt it down and reuse it for something else. I don't know what I would do with it. But here, if I do this, at least I won't be bringing plastic home to my own house. I'll be reducing my own waste. Probably the cheese comes in huge blocks covered in plastic, but that's the store. It's not me. So I feel like at least I'm doing a little bit. You just have to do whatever you can in the situation you're in if you want to avoid plastic. And everybody's at a different level. Like, I think people like in San Francisco can avoid lots of plastic because that's just where their legislation is at, and their culture and everything is just on this particular thing. They're a little more advanced than most of the country. Whereas other people, if you have to shop at Target or Walmart, it's going to be really hard. But everybody just has to do their best at their situation, whatever they're in. As long as we're always trying, and we're trying to live intentionally, and we're aware of what's going on, because you never know, there new solutions pop up. And you can always advocate. You can always ask. That's how things change. You can always talk to the store manager, or write to the company, or write a letter to a local newspaper, or something. Send an email to a local councilman or something like that. It just doesn't even have to be huge activism, just occasional activism. But, maybe, I don't know, a couple times a year, something like that. Because at least you're adding to the voices, Anyway, I'm going to go in and try to see if they'll still let me get lunch meat and cheese over the counter, bringing my own container. Okay, so I'm here in the store, and as you can see, this particular store still has this. I haven't been here for a couple of years. I really stopped shopping here when COVID hit. But anyway, you can pick up these rolls without plastic. Now, they only had the plastic bags out. So I asked, and she brought out these. She said that was all she could find. They used to always have paper bags available. Okay, trying to hold this. Mission accomplished. In fact, I got pretzels too. I had to ask for paper bags, but they did have them in that store. I also got some of these, oh, can't see, some rolls. So that worked. Okay, and then I also got some roast beef, and I had to explain to the lady, but she was accommodating. She did it for me. So I got some roast beef because lately my husband's been craving roast beef. And then you can't see, but in there is some Swiss cheese.